Let's go through the 10 reasons that podcasting is the best way to make money online, because facts, you can make money in endless ways. There are lots of options: social media, overnight promises, side hustles, MLMs, everything in between. But the reality is I've tried them all and honestly failed at everything except this model right here, where podcasting is the actual engine that grows leads and that creates fast, effective conversion from people who love and listen to you to people who buy from you because they trust you. So get ready, because we're going to go through those 10 things right now. Reason number 1 is that you can build trust through long form content faster and better than any other method. Podcasts allow you to spend 20 to 40 minutes with your person, with your perfectly chosen person that God has for you on your show per episode. This fosters deeper trust, connection, and truly almost an authentic conversation, even though it's one-sided. The thing I hear from my listeners all the time is, oh my gosh, Steph, I feel like you know me. That is what you want to cultivate with your listener. Where else can you do that? Where else do we actually get to captivate somebody's attention for 20 minutes nowadays? It's not short form. It's not social. It's not stories. It's not reels. And it's definitely not even any kind of video, because video means we have a phone in our face, which means people are perpetuating the dopamine hit and that addiction cycle. We need to get off of the video platforms, whether short form or long form, in my opinion, and really focus on the audio long form content, which keeps attention. The second reason is it creates a highly engaged and loyal audience. Over 80% of podcast listeners listen to all or most of each episode. This engagement builds a dedicated audience that's more likely to buy your products or services. Why? Because they're hanging out with you. You're constantly front of mind. Nowhere else do people hang out with you through the entire thing unless it's audio, in my opinion. Why is it? Because when you get people out of the dopamine hit of their cell phones and into working out, taking a walk outside, doing laundry, a commute, you remove that addiction to distraction, the addiction to your phone, the swipe and the click, and you allow people to drop into peace and truly activate and tap into paying attention to you through that audio platform. So that one is hugely important. Reason number 3 is you can tap into a growing market. Podcast listenership is projected to reach over, wait for it, 500 million by 2024 alone. And we're not stopping. This growth means that there's still untapped potential to find and grow your niche audience, aka your business. The fourth reason is you can monetize in multiple ways. So podcasting is super diverse, and I teach my favorite way to monetize a podcast is through coaching or mentorship and then course creation, which, by the way, I just put together a 5-day bootcamp called the Profitable Podcast Bootcamp for you, where you can walk through 5 days of training with me. It's on crazy sale. It's only $17 for a very limited time, but I'll walk you through a deep dive of how to monetize the podcast, how it works, how to scale it, how to be strategic, the SEO, all these little pieces I'm talking about today. The how-to is in my 5-day bootcamp. If you want to check that out, go to profitablepodcastbootcamp.com, only $17, and you can do a deep dive with me. But back to monetization. You can sell your own offer, which for me is the biggest profit margin, the biggest profit potential. But if you don't want to do that, you could also affiliate for other people in your space. You could, if your podcast grows large enough, get sponsorships. It's truly limitless. The fifth reason is that you can create evergreen marketing assets. What does this mean? It means that your milk don't spoil. These assets, your podcast episodes, never expire. Some of my top downloaded episodes, most of which are about not using social media to grow a flourishing business. Imagine that. They are my top downloaded podcast episodes. They live on literally forever. An episode recorded today can generate leads and sales years and even decades down the road. Yes, please. Let's not waste our time creating content that dies in the algorithm graveyard. The sixth reason is it positions you as an authority, as an expert. So when you host a podcast, it really establishes you and it makes it easier to attract opportunities. I've gotten speaking engagements. I've been invited into masterminds. I've had coffee chats with people who are super fancy and had collaborations. It's brought me lots of high-paying clients and sales because it really allows people to see you as an expert in that space. The seventh reason that podcasting is what's up is it generates leads organically. Podcasts naturally nurture leads because not only do they provide valuable content, teachable moments, but it's also that seamless transition between your authentic storytelling. And here's the deal. If people don't trust you and then like you, they're not going to buy from you. And the problem is when we only have 90 seconds to have people like us and trust us and then buy from us, we're going to fail every time. But when we remove people from all of those visual platforms, when it comes to conversion, guys, I don't care if you want to be on visual platforms to drive more traffic back to your podcast, that's great. But where can you expect sales to actually happen? The podcast, because you have that 15, 20, 30 minutes of undivided attention to tell people stories, draw them in, connect, teach them something of value, and then earn their trust so that they are open to looking at what you have to offer. The eighth reason that podcasting is the best way to make money online is because it has a low startup cost. How many of you have spent $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 on some fancy mastermind program or online course and it didn't actually help you grow? It was one tiny piece of this much bigger puzzle that you didn't know that you needed. So I love low startup costs for podcasting because this only truly takes a microphone. And by the way, I didn't even start with a fancy mic. I started with a Blue Yeti for like 5 years, which was perfectly fine. Hosting software, I use Podbean, which is like $7 a month, and Audacity, which is free, and basic editing tools. So truly, you're not looking at a huge overhead expense, which also really plays in your favor because here's the thing, most people will get started with a podcast and they will quit. Why? It's not instant gratification. Your stuff doesn't just go viral and bring a lot of feel goods. It just brings results if you actually stick with it. The ninth reason podcasting is the best way to make money online is it's easy to scale. Once your podcast is up and running, it's super straightforward. This is a small community, believe it or not. So you can start getting to know other people in your pocket of expertise and do podcast swaps, have guests on your show and be a guest on their show. Podcasting has been the most phenomenal way for me to get featured for PR opportunities. And you can even add, if you wanted to, monetization streams or repurposed content like we do, where we repurpose our podcast episode onto blogs and now even onto YouTube to reach even more people. And last but not least is that podcasting is ideal for long-term growth. We are not here for overnight success. We know that that is not sticky. We are here for sustainability and my other favorite S word, simplicity, okay? Podcasting thrives on consistency and it's going to pay off over time. This is a business model where compound growth allows your audience and income to steadily increase year after year. Since starting my podcast, Online Business for Christian Women, 6 years ago, I've gone from a struggling online business owner who was barely scraping by. We literally borrowed money from my son's savings account to pay the mortgage one month, to a 7-figure business owner without personally showing up on Instagram for 3 years out of that pocket of time. I never spent $1 on paid advertising until we had passed over $500,000 in annual revenue. And by the way, I was a solopreneur when I started, and now I have a team of over 25 people, including our internship program. It's crazy. Podcasting has been the vessel for all of those things to happen. So I hope that this helped you. If you want a deeper dive with me, come on into my Profitable Podcast Bootcamp. It's 5 days of training, an hour a day. Of course, you can watch the replay, watch it and consume it on your own time, but it's me taking you through guided workbooks and a deep dive training on how to make money podcasting, the actual what's, how's, nuts and bolts, SEO, visibility, creating those offers that are going to actually sell and scale. and doing it all while honoring God with your work. ProfitablePodcastBootcamp.com. Come and check it out. It's only $17 for a limited time. If you aren't into that, no worries. Be sure to leave a comment below this video and let me know what your favorite tip was or reason was that podcasting generates the most money online. I'd love to see what your favorite was and what your plan is, your implementation plan from this episode. I'll see you again next week.